Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a process video for you today. I know that we are already a few days into November by the time you see this video, but I wanted to share how I'm going to be working through some of the components from Bythewell4god this month. So there is a scripture writing plan this month that they have available for free. It's a free resource. You can go over to the website and download this page that has its 30 days worth of scripture writing. And this particular prompt list coordinates with the devotional from this month for a biblical thanks. So these same verses you'll find in that devotional. But there's another free resource, which is Grateful for Who Jesus Is. This would be a good study anytime if you are already, kind of overwhelmed with November things, or just a good study anytime. It's also a free resource, so be sure to grab that as well, because like I said, you could do this study anytime. But for now, I'm going to be focusing on the scripture writing. And what I have decided to do is use this pocket Bible. And I'm going to decorate the pages ahead of time so that I can just kind of focus on the actual scripture writing. I have the eclectic neutral one. There is this particular colorway available still. There's another Tim Holtz colorway and a couple of other options that you have as well. So I will put my affiliate link down below if you're interested in doing that. But I really needed to just kind of simplify for November. I am still recovering from pneumonia, and then we also have some traveling that we're doing this month. My daughter's moving, and so we are going to be taking her, and I'm going to be staying with her for about a week. And so I just needed to kind of make everything a little bit simpler for me for this month, as I'm supposed to also be resting and stuff. So trying to get back in the swing of things after having been sick. So what I decided to do is I'm going to use this, and then I'm still working through the devotional. I've actually already read through it, and I'm going to do a few pages in my journaling Bible, but not all 14 for a biblical thanks, but I am going to kind of focus on the scripture writing for this month. And so the eclectic neutral set comes with everything you need really to cover this Bible. If you've not seen me do one of these before, I've done them multiple times on my channel. I really like the little pocket Bibles. But I have had this one in my stash. So you get a little pocket Bible, you get some instructions, and then you have a couple of different pieces of fabric, like scraps that you can decorate with or make a closure with. You get your end papers, and then you get two different selections of fabric. And so I thought this one was really beautiful. I think this is the one that I'm going to use today. I also really love this kind of street map one, but I think for what this project, I'm going to use this particular piece. And then you always get the 36 journaling cards that coordinate. They're just real neutral. And then these actually have some other stickers, but what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to substitute out some of these for some leftovers that I have from other kits that I have done that just have some of the same colors as a biblical thanks devotional, because what I'm going to be doing is using some of the die cuts and the stickers and all those things to decorate the front of the cards. Decorate the front of the cards, and then I will have them available to do my scripture writing. And I have, this pocket Bible is just the New Testament, Psalms and Proverbs. And so, but even in the past when I've used these, if I had come across one that's an Old Testament verse, I will just stick it in the front of the Bible. I'm not worried about that, but I just feel like this is going to be a good way for me to really focus on the scripture writing. It's always one of my favorite things to do. Even with the devotionals, I always write out all of the verses. And so this month, just because I need to pare it down just a little bit, I'm just going to focus on the scripture writing plan from Bythewell4god. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to put you on fast forward. I'm going to get this covered and decorated, and then I'm going to start decorating some of the pages so that they're ready to go. And you just toss it in my bag along with my prompt list, and then I can work on it even when I'm out of town that way, and so I'm not getting even further behind. So with that being said, I'm going to put you on fast forward and get started. So the first thing I like to do when I'm covering these Bibles is to dry fit the fabric that I'm going to use. This is just a way to make sure that I have enough fabric from side to side. They're perfectly cut so that they will cover these Bibles, but I want to make sure I have kind of an equal part on front and back. And I just hold those together loosely with some clips. And then I'm going to use some cocoina glue. This is actually a paste that's like almond based, and so it's very sticky, but it will cover this without seeping through the fabric, which can tend to happen with something like Fabri-Tac and that kind of stuff. So I start with the back cover, and then I unwrap this. I'm going to do the spine, and then I'm going to do the front cover, and just making sure I have good coverage all the way to the ends. And then I'm going to smooth this around and cover this. I will say this is not going to be a full complete tutorial on how to do this, but I do have plenty of videos of covering pocket Bibles if you want to see some other options. I actually think I have a playlist for that, so if you want a more in-depth view of how to do this. But I am going to trim these corners off here just to get rid of a little bit of the bulk at the corner when we're wrapping the fabric around. And so I'm just trimming out a rough corner. I'm leaving enough space that when it folds over, it will cover that rounded corner. And then I'm also making these little triangle cuts at the front and the back side of the text block here. And that will just make this fabric wrap around the text block and into the cover really well. So on the back cover here, I'm starting with the long side. I'm gluing that piece down, and now I'm adding some glue onto the fabric, and then you can see I'm kind of folding it over, adding a little bit more glue. I'm just kind of pleating this around that rounded corner. You could do this differently if you had a square corner, but since these are rounded, you kind of want to pleat it around. And then I'm using those clips again just to hold everything down in place while this dries. So I typically let this dry. I'll let it dry for a couple hours and then actually put it under some heavy books when it's all finished overnight. And then I'm tucking these end pieces in here. It helps if you kind of fold the spine back on itself. It opens up the spine, and then just adding a little bit of glue and using my very fancy paper clip tool here, I'm just sticking that fabric down in to the spine, and that would just make sure that everything is nice and covered. So you can see I did both sides of the cover. I had a little string here I needed to trim. And then I will recommend, if you are doing cocoina glue, have some baby wipes or something next to you, because it's very sticky glue. And then I had this fabric in my stash that I wanted to use for the closure for this book, for this Bible. So I took it, it was a little bit wide, so I just trimmed it down with my rotary cutter there. And then I'm going to add this to the front and the back cover. I'm doing this before the end papers so that it gets tucked in there and everything is nice and neat when I'm finished. And then trying to line these up, you know, I'm eyeballing that, but making sure that they're in line with each other so that it ties nicely. Then I'm taking these end papers. These are also included in the kit, and I'm just folding them in half. I'm using a bone folder to get a really good crease on that. That just makes the cover stay closed a little bit better as well. And you can kind of see this is how it will tie, but I'm going to now add these end papers. So I'm adding a little piece of deli paper here just to protect the text. And then I'm going to use that same cocoina glue. I like to start with the flyleaf paper here, and then I kind of align this, get everything situated, and then I will glue the side that meets up with the cover. And I do this just because I want to make sure that I have the right placement. And then I will kind of push it down into the gutter, make sure everything's nice and secure. I'll replace those clips on the corners where that is just a little bit bulkier, just to make sure that it stays nice and glued down. And then I'm going to protect that side with some more deli paper, do the exact same thing to the back cover. So you can kind of see what that looks like. I'm going to set that off to the side to dry. This is kind of what it looks like now that I have let that dry for a little while. I took the clips off. And these are some of the cards that I have selected for this. I obviously pulled out 30. I'm going to be using some of those die cuts, some of these journaling cards, some of the clear stickers. I'm even going to be pulling some of those alphas, like the tile alphas, the big ones, to kind of add maybe some words or something on here. We'll just kind of have to see how we go. But I'm going to decorate the front of these and then leave the back side obviously for the scripture writing. And these are in no particular order. What I thought I would do is just kind of sort these by kind of colorway. And then I'm just going to go through the die cuts and see kind of what pulls my attention. And then I'm going to make a stack of the card and the ephemera piece or the sticker or whatever I decide to use. Just kind of trying different things out. I had her pulled out, and then in the end I don't end up actually using her, but I did create a stack. I'm going to do about 10 cards in this video. So I'm starting with this first one. I'm just using one of the faux washi stickers from the devotional kit, Biblical Thanks, and also this clear sticker. And one of the things I like to do when I'm working with clear stickers, if I want to work on like placement or whatever, is I will actually cut it from the sticker sheet, which is why you can see it's not attached. And this did hang off the edge a little bit. I kind of like that look, so I just trimmed that down. And then I'm going to leave that little space at the top in case I want to add a word. I may or may not. And then I decided at this point, like I needed to kind of mass make this. So I went through and I distressed all of the ephemera pieces. I distressed all of the tags instead of doing it like one by one, just to kind of smooth things along, speed things along. So again, I pulled another piece of that faux washi. I just feel like that helps anchor some of these ephemera pieces. And I have this beautiful recipe box that I want to include, but I felt like it needed something else. So I added a little clear sticker up in the top left-hand corner just to kind of balance everything out there. And then I'll trim off the excess from that sticker that was kind of hanging off. And then this was another one of the stickers from the sticker sheet. And this is maybe one of my favorites. It's like all the little herbs drying. And I think just so beautiful. And I was going to put something else down at the bottom, but I really don't want to take away from this sticker. So unless I just add a word or something, I'm actually going to leave that card exactly how it is. I really like the open space of that. And then I have these two journaling cards, and technically, I guess you could put them in the Bible, but they're going to stick out. They're just a little bit too big. So I ended up trimming it down, and I didn't want to use it just the trimmed down version, because then on the back side you have the weirdness from where the paper is cut. So I basically just took two of these and I trimmed them down. I rounded the corners and glued it on and just used those as my main focal images. I'm just trying to get a variety of different things. So I'll probably come back with some other cards and use, some of the stencils and some of the stamps and everything. So I have a good variety of cards. But this is just what I was doing for today to try to get some of these cards made so that I can take this project with me, and so I can kind of get a head start. So I have 10 days here that I can work on. And then this one, I wanted some fabric just to kind of anchor this big like decorative plate. And it was obviously too big, so I did lose some of it, but I'm really okay with that. I do like things hanging off the edge. I think it just looks more interesting that way. And so wherever I'm having to trim things off, I'm obviously going back and adding a little bit of distress ink. So that girl's one that I just, she wasn't speaking to me, so I just felt like she was looking at something, and so I feel like she's going to be better on maybe a Bible page. But I did love this apron, and so I just kind of put this on here crooked, and I end up really loving how this one looks. That paper kind of has almost like a texture to it, like a burlappy kind of texture, or a linen, I guess. So it works really well with that apron. And then on this one, I had this idea to kind of create a background from the little mini clear stickers that are all the leaves. So I'm going to distress the edge of this card because this one was just a new idea as I was working through. I do this very intuitively, so sometimes I just kind of randomly will pull things, but I'm going to go through here and add a bunch of stickers to create a background. I'm not going to make you watch me do all of those stickers because it's not very exciting, but this is kind of what it looks like at the end. I decided to add these pumpkins down here at the bottom, but again, I felt like it needed something to kind of ground them. I thought about using a really thin strip of paper, but instead I decided to use some of the fabric from the kit. This was actually the bow clip. I disassembled it and then I actually trimmed it in half, so it's just a little bit thinner. And then for a trick to kind of create a ruffle, I use a tape runner across the bottom, and then I kind of go along and sort of pleat my little ruffle, sticking it down into that tape runner, making the folds of the pleats. And then I'm going to come back through with my art glitter glue and just secure those pleats down so that they actually look like they have been sewn that way without having to sew it. I guess I could have sewn it, but at the time this just seemed like the easy way to do it, and I was just trying to crank out these cards. So and then I put the little pumpkins down on there, and I really love how that card turned out as well. And then I have this other one that I came across as I was doing these other cards, and I really wanted to use this basket. And so I pulled out some of the paper from the devotional kit that coordinates with the devotional kit, and then I just trimmed it down just for a couple of the stripes, and just to pull in some of those colors that are in this basket. And then I trimmed that down, and also just kind of, again, helps the little die cut piece have something to kind of anchor it into the background, so it's not just floating around. So, and like I said, I will do some more cards that have like stamping and some stenciling and that kind of stuff. But for now, I just kind of went with all paper and stickers. And then I pulled out another piece of the pattern paper. This is just one of the red pieces. You can see the leaves are on the back side. But I really wanted to use these mason jars. I thought they were so super cute. And so, and again, just needed something to anchor that. So left this card very simple. Again, I can add something to the top if I want to later. I'm just going to go through and kind of flip through these cards that I did today. Let me know if you'd like to see some other videos where I'm kind of mass making some of these cards for this project. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and until next time, bye.